I attempted my first Hardcore Nuzlocke. Now I'm assuming you only clicked on this video because you know what a Nuzlocke is, but because I want to be like those other YouTubers, I guess I'll show you what the rules are. Basically, a Nuzlocke is a set of self-imposed rules players place on themselves in order to make the game more difficult. Because, as everyone already claims, Pokemon games are, well, easy. The basic set of rules is that you can only catch the first Pokemon on every route. If you make it faint or run away, you can't catch another Pokemon on that route. And you must nickname that Pokemon in order to feel a deeper connection and bond with your Pokemon. The next rule is that when a Pokemon faints, it dies, meaning you have to either permanently box it or release it. However, because humanity is sadistic, these simple rules themselves also became too easy for players, which eventually evolved the Nuzlocke into a Hardcore Nuzlocke. People have all sorts of additional rules, but I will be implementing the hardcore rules followed by PokeTuber Pokemon Challenges. In his hardcore rules, the player must play in set mode, cannot use items in battle, and their highest level Pokemon cannot exceed the highest level Pokemon on the next gym leader's team, called the level cap. For example, Brock's highest level Pokemon is 14, so I cannot have a Pokemon come into that gym with a level higher than 14. If a Pokemon accidentally levels beyond that level cap, that Pokemon cannot be used in that gym. Lastly, if my entire team faints in a battle and I white out, then I fail the challenge and have to start all over from the beginning. So with playing with these rules, I decided to play Pokemon Fire Red because that's the first one I ever played and I absolutely love that game. Disclaimer, I'm also giving myself a handicap in this playthrough, and because it's been sanctioned by Pokemon Challenges himself, I believe that's okay. I cheated in unlimited rare candies to avoid any grinding on wild Pokemon. I know this is very divisive in the Pokemon community, but hey, I've never played a Hardcore Nuzlocke before, so I think I'll be okay. And grinding just adds so much boredom to the game, and this challenge is supposed to be fun. Again, there's an emphasis on a self-imposed rule set. It's supposed to make the game more fun, not less fun. So please, if you enjoy this video, subscribe for more stuff like this, like the video, it's free, and it really helps me out a lot. So anyway, here we go. Regretfully, I start off with choosing Bulbasaur as my starter because Bulbasaur is great against the first two gym leaders, Brock being rock type and Misty being water type. Charizard's my favorite Pokemon. I know I'm a basic bitch, sue me. So this broke my heart. I name him Gandalf, and then I...
Fly, you fools!
Anyway, where was I? I choose my favorite Pokemon Charmander because even though he has type disadvantages, the journey would not feel right without my favorite teammate, and I name him Gandalf.
I've been sent back until my task is done.
I wipe the floor with my rival Telly, get Oak's parcel from Viridian City, and head back to my Pokedex and get my first Pokeballs. The Hardcore Nuzlocke has officially begun. I head to Route 1 where my first encounter is a level 3 Pidgey and I name it Mary. I then head over to Route 22 and encounter a level 3 Mankey and name it Pippin. Even though I already caught 2 Pokemon, this old man drunk on tea teaches me how to use a Pokeball. I head up to Route 2 and encounter level 3 Rattata and name it Grima. I head into Viridian Forest and encounter level 4 Weedle and name him Lurtz. I use my rare candies to level up my Pokemon to level 14, and Lurtz evolves into a Beedrill. Pippin quickly destroys Brock's Pokemon. I head over to Route 3 where I catch a Spearow and name him Haldir. At the Pokemon Center before Mount Moon, I buy the Magikarp, which counts as my Route 4 encounter, and I name her Arwen. I head into Mount Moon and catch a level 8 Zubat that I name Eowyn. When I arrive in Cerulean City, I level up my Pokemon some more, and Gandalf evolves into Charmeleon, Arwen evolves into Gyarados, and Mary evolves into Pidgeotto. I decide to fight my rival first. I lead with Gandalf against his Pidgeotto and Ember it to death, but not before he uses some sand attacks. Telly sends in his Squirtle, so I switch to Mary. Telly's Squirtle gets off a water gun, not doing too much damage, so I hit back with a quick attack, and Telly uses Tail Whip. I go back with a Gust, he hits with a water gun, I hit another Gust, then he hits another water gun. Now because I'm foolish, I think a quick attack would kill his Squirtle, but I was sorely mistaken, and Mary goes down to another water gun. My first death. Mary! Devastating and easily avoidable. I send in Grima to end Squirtle with a quick attack. Telly sends out his Abra, which Grima takes out with a Hyper Fang, and then Telly sends in his Rattata, but again, Grima ends him with another Hyper Fang. Losing Mary here was more of a mental loss than an actual physical loss, but Mary will not be forgotten. We must forge on. I add Eowyn to my party to replace Mary and level him up to be on par with the rest of the team. After finishing Nugget Bridge, I catch a level 12 Oddish on Route 24 and name him Treebeard. Grima also evolves into Eradicate. I get the SS Ann ticket from Bill's house and prep for Misty's battle. I level up my Pokemon to the new level cap of 21 and head into the gym. I lead off with Grima against her Staryu in one shot with Hyper Fang. I tail whip Misty's Starmie, and after taking a water pulse, I risk a crit and try to go for Hyper Fang, but it misses, so I tank another water pulse. I switch into Lurtz, who tanks a water pulse and then a Swift before I can land a Twin Needle, which takes it out. I avoided another stupid death in this battle by risking a crit twice. After beating the Rocket Grunt and getting Dig, I catch a level 10 Meowth and name him Denethor. I head through the underground tunnel and search around Route 6 for another Pokemon, but realize I can't get another Pokemon on Route 6 because I already have all those Pokemon, besides the fishing and surfing Pokemon. So I head to Vermilion City. I get the old rod from the fishing guru and the bike voucher from the chairman of the Pokemon fan club. I board the SS Anne and Aowen evolves into a Golbat and I fight my rival. I refuse to let it end the same way as last time. This time I lead off with Arwen against his Pidgeotto. I land some water pulses to take him out, but because he hit some sand attacks, I switch into Pippin to fight his Raticate. Pippin karate chops it in half and out comes his Kadabra. I switch into Lurtz, who Twin Needles him to death, and he sends in his War Turtle. I decide to keep Lurtz in to finish him off with a Twin Needle because Lurtz has served his purpose and is not really needed on my party anymore. After finishing off my rival, I rub an old man's back and he gives me Cut as an award for helping the elderly. I head into Diglett's cave and accidentally kill the level 17 Diglett I encountered with a quick attack from Grima. I go to Route 11 and catch a level 15 Drowsy that I named Saruman. I level up my Pokemon to the new level cap of 24 and head into the worst gym puzzles to ever exist. I swear to God, I spent more time on this puzzle as a kid than any other thing in these games. Seriously though, who the hell made this puzzle? It's a form of child abuse. Anyway, after solving it through saves, I start the battle with Lieutenant Surge. I lead with Grima against his Voltorb, which I one-shot with Hyper Fang. Surge sends in his Pikachu, which I once again one-shot with Hyper Fang. Finally, Surge sends in his Raichu, and as you guessed it, nope, I didn't one-shot with Hyper Fang, but I did finish it with a quick attack. And just like that, that's 3 badges. I head back to Cerulean City and head east onto Route 9 and catch a level 15 Ekans that I named Rosie. I then catch a level 16 Voltorb that I named Gamling. I head into Rock Tunnel and catch a level 13 Onix and name him Isildur. After a close battle, I decide that Lurtz has finally seen enough action, and I replace him with Saruman, who I level up and evolve into a Hypno. I make it through Rock Tunnel and arrive in Lavender Town, ready to fight my rival. I lead again with Grima against Telly's Pidgeotto, who I do not one-shot with Hyper Fang, but quickly finish him off with a second Hyper Fang. He sends in his Growlithe, so I switch into Arwen, who takes him out. After he sends in his Execute, I switch into Gandalf and get put to sleep, so I switch into Pippin, who almost gets one-shot by a Confusion. So I send in Saruman, who uses a Headbutt to take him out. I put his Wartortle to sleep, and I take him out with some Confusions, and finally take out his last Pokemon with a Headbutt and Confusion. I head on to Route 8, where I catch a level 17 Growlithe, who I name Boromir. I head to Route 7, but again cannot catch anything because I already have all of them. I head over to Route 16, where I catch a level 18 Doduo, and I name him Elrond. After getting Fly, I get the Eevee in Celadon City and name him Legolas. I level up my Pokemon to the new level cap of 29 and I battle Erica. I lead with Gandalf against her Victory Bell. I Ember it to death and she brings out Tangela, who Gandalf one-shots with Ember. She sends in Vileplume, who paralyzes Gandalf, so I switch into Saruman, who ends the battle with a few confusions, earning me my 4th badge. I clear out the rocket hideout in the casino with no issues and I get Sylph Scope, which I use to put Marowak to rest to get the Pokeflute. I also encountered a level 14 Ghastly, which I caught and named Galadriel. I head south and use my Route 12 encounter to encounter the Snorlax that I named Theoden. I also get the Super Rod on this route, which will come in super handy later. I pushed my luck a little too far, and Aowen died to a trainer's Electrode because I did not have a safe switch. I could have sacked Lurtz or Grima as their times have ended, but Aowen also needed to be replaced, so it wasn't the worst loss. I added Elrond and Theoden to my team. I head down to Cycling Road where I almost lost Grima to a Muck Sludge and arrive in Fuchsia City. I leveled up my Pokemon to face Koga, and Gandalf evolved into Charizard, and Elrond evolved into Dodrio. I just used Saruman's Psychic on each and every one of Koga's Pokemon, earning me the 5th gym badge. From here, my goal was to guarantee a Dratini encounter in the Safari Zone, so I caught a Poliwag named Gollum fishing in Viridian City, which I leveled up to become a Poliwhirl to cover those 2 encounters. I also caught a Psyduck named Bilbo on Route 23, a Sea King named Theodred fishing in Fuchsia City, and a Goldeen named Celeborn fishing on Route 25. I then head into the Safari Zone with my Super Rod, and I get the guaranteed Dratini encounter. So I throw a bait and catch it on my second ball and name it Aragorn, even though it was a girl. After doing what I need to do in the Safari Zone, I level Aragorn up to evolve her into a Dragonair, and then head into Saffron City. I fight the dojo and earn a Hitmonlee, who I name Elendil. I make it through the Silphco and fight my rival once again. I lead off with Elrond against his Pidgeot. I two-shot it with Tri-Attack and he sends in Growlithe. I switch into Arwen, who one-shots with Surf, but not before getting burned. He sends in his Execute, so I switch into Gandalf, who one-shots with Flamethrower. He sends in his Blastoise, so I switch into Theoden. I use Yawn to try to make it fall asleep, then use Body Slam, which paralyzes it so it doesn't end up falling asleep, so I just finish it with a Body Slam. He sends in his Alakazam, but he's no match for Theoden's Body Slam, so I win the battle. I obtain the Lapras from the Silphco worker and name him Samwise. I finish what I need to do in Silphco and head to Sabrina's gym. I level up my Pokemon to the level cap of 43 and I enter the battle. I lead off with Theoden against her Kadabra and I one-shot with Body Slam. I also one-shot Mr. Mime. I also one-shot her Venomoth. I also one-shot her Alakazam. I thought Sabrina was supposed to be tough. Anyway, that's the 6th badge. I fly to Pallet Town and head south and encounter a level 32 Tentacool on Route 21, who I catch and name Aomer. I give the Helix fossil to the scientist and name him Faramir. I head into the Pokemon Mansion where I encounter a level 28 Coughing who friggin' self-destructs on me. I get a secret key and I head into Blaine's gym. I get an A on all his tests and then level up my Pokemon to the new level cap of 47. I start the battle leading off with Arwen, who uses a Rain Dance and one-shots Blaine's Growlithe, Ponyta, and Rapidash, but had to two-shot Blaine's Arcanine. Another easy battle, it seems, for me. I get ambushed by Bill, who forces me to go to the Sevi Islands, a side story no one asked for or even wanted, where Gandalf almost died to a self-destructing wheezing on 3 Island. I caught a Venonat named Balin on Bond Bridge, but that was all that happened. I make it back and head to Viridian City to face Giovanni for the final time and for the 8th gym badge. I accidentally overleveled Aragon in this battle, so I did not bring her into the fight. I lead with Arwen, who single-handedly decimated Giovanni's hopes and dreams for Team Rocket. Too bad, my guy. You do bad things will happen to you. Anyway, that's all 8 gym badges. Now it's time for my rival. I lead off with Arwen against his Pidgeot, and I take it out with a couple Hydro Pumps and a Surf. He sends out Rhyhorn, who Arwen takes out with a Surf. He then sends out his Growlithe, who Arwen also takes out with 1 Surf. He sends in an Execute, so I switch to Gandalf, who kills Execute with a couple Wing attacks. Next, he sends out Blastoise, so I switch in Theoden, who takes out the Blastoise with a couple of Body Slams. Finally, he sent out his Alakazam, and Theoden killed him with 1 Body Slam. Now all that's left is the Elite Four and the Champion. I'm starting to feel pretty confident about this. I head all the way to Victory Road only to realize I never got strength from the Warden, so I had to travel back. I finally enter Victory Road and get my last encounter, a level 32 Geodude who I named Shelob. After making it all the way through Victory Road, I make some changes to my team. I decide to get a Thunderstone and evolve my Eevee into Jolteon and give him Thunderbolt from the game corner, which made me have to grind so many trainers for money. I also adjusted some of my team's moves and everything was ready to go. My final team heading into the Elite Four was my Jolteon named Legolas, my Dodrio named Elrond, my Hypno named Saruman, my Charizard named Gandalf, my Snorlax named Theoden, and my Lapras named Samwise. Now, the Elite Four with level capping is a bit difficult to agree on, so I did some research and found that it's somewhat agreeable to make my Pokemon the same level as Lance's highest Pokemon, which means the champion will have higher leveled Pokemon, which I thought was fair. So I faced Lauralee first. Go ahead, debate me in the comments on how to pronounce her name correctly. I lead with Legolas against her Dugong. Thunderbolt one-shots. Thunderbolt also one-shots Cloyster and Slowbro. Maybe I am a bit overleveled. Oh well. Lapras takes 2 shots, and then I switch to Gandalf for her Jinx and 1 shot with Blast Burn. And that's Elite Four number 1. Against Bruno, I lead with Samwise, who one-shots his Onix with Surf. He sends in Hitmonchan, so I switch to Elrond, who tanks a Sky Uppercut and one-shots with Drill Peck. He sends in Machamp, so I switch to Saruman, who uses 2 Psychics to take it out. He sends in Hitmonlee, who almost takes out Saruman with a Mega Kick, but Saruman barely hangs in there and gets a Psychic off, almost one-shotting. I switch in Theoden on the heal, but that was a mistake because Brick Break does over half to Theoden. I use Yawn to try to put him to sleep. I risk using Rest to his Brick Break, which left me on 5 health. Thank God for that low roll. I rest and gain my health back, and Hitmonlee fell asleep too. I send in Elrond to clean up Hitmonlee with Drill Peck. Bruno sends in his second Onix, and I switch in Samwise to quickly one-shot it with Surf. That was a lot closer battle than I thought it was going to be. Now I'm starting to sweat. Elite Four number 2, down. Against Agatha, I lead with Saruman against her Gengar. Gengar uses Confuse Ray, but I hit through it and Psychic is a one-shot. She sends out Golbat, so I send in Legolas, who eats an Air Cutter and one-shots with Thunderbolt. She sends in Arbok, so I send in Theoden, who does not get poisoned on a Sludge Bomb. Earthquake is a one-shot, and Agatha sends in the second Gengar. And the idiot I am forgets that Gengar has Levitate and Earthquake won't affect it. Gengar puts Theoden to sleep, so I'm forced to switch out to Saruman, who gets poisoned by a Sludge Bomb. I go for Psychic, but Gengar uses Shadow Ball, killing Saruman. I had no idea Gengar had Shadow Ball. I send in Samwise, who Ice Beams the Gengar to red health, but Agatha uses a full restore and puts Samwise to sleep with Hypnosis. Thankfully, it was a first turn wake up, and Samwise takes out the Gengar. Agatha sends out her final Pokemon, Haunter. I try to keep Samwise in, but Haunter uses hypnosis and puts him to sleep, so I send in Elrond, who one-shots with Drill Peck. This battle suffered the loss of Saruman, which I don't believe I needed for the rest of the run, but it definitely hurts losing a Pokemon. He's done so much for the team, and I respect him, even though he tried to destroy Helm's Deep. Against Lance, I lead with Legless against this Gyarados, and I one-shot with Thunderbolt. That was a great investment, because I have no answer for Gyarados if I did not get Legolas on the team. He sends in his Dragonair, so I switch to Samwise, who one-shots with Ice Beam. Lance sends in Aerodactyl, so I one-shot with Surf, but lose a lot of health to an Ancient Power. Lance sends in his second Dragonair, and Samwise one-shots with Ice Beam again. Lance finally sends in his Dragonite, so I switch to Theoden. I first yawn and then Body Slam as Lance continuously pummels Theoden with wing attacks, putting me into a false sense of security, knowing I can take another wing attack, but end up dying to a Hyper Beam. Goodbye, my king. I send in Elrond, who finishes the fight with 2 Tri-Attacks. I only have 4 Pokemon for the champion: my starter Gandalf the Charizard, Legolas the Jolteon, Elrond the Dodrio, and Samwise the Lapras. I'm definitely getting nervous for this last fight. Against the champion, I lead with Legolas, who one-shots his Pidgeot with Thunderbolt. Telly sends in Rhydon, so I switch to Samwise, who tanks an Earthquake and one-shots with Surf. Telly sends in Executor, and I use an Ice Beam hoping to one-shot, but I don't, and he puts Samwise to sleep, almost killing him with Giga Drain. I switch into Gandalf and one-shot with Flamethrower. Only half of his team is left. He sends in Blastoise, so I switch into Legolas, who eats a Hydro Pump, and 2 shots with Thunderbolt. 2 more to go. He sends in his Alakazam, so I Thunder Wave it, not realizing it has Synchronize, paralyzing us both, so I switch into Elrond, who uses Drill Peck, and almost one-shots, but cannot get the range, so Telly starts spamming full restores. Alakazam gets off a last Psychic, scaring me, thinking he's going to one-shot Elrond, but Elrond is able to withstand it and take it down. Only 1 Pokemon to go. He sends out his Arcanine, and I use Tri-Attack to sacrifice Elrond to get a clean switch into Gandalf. I'm sorry, Elrond. Thank you for your sacrifice. This will end how it began, side by side with my starter. I send in Gandalf, who exchanges slashes for extreme speeds, and because I'm stubborn, I take it all the way, and Gandalf is able to hold on with 2 HP left to take down the Arcanine and beat the champion. I did it. I beat the Hardcore Nuzlocke on Pokemon Fire Red. There were some sacrifices along the way, but all said and done, it was a clean run and I'm proud of it. Let me know down in the comments if you want me to try to do another Nuzlocke in your favorite game, or if there's a certain ROM hack you want to see me try to Nuzlocke. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.